What up, 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 what up? Good morning, or afternoon, or good night.
I started trying to count after 3, and I was like, fuck it.
I was like, we go. What's up? Welcome to another episode of Whoreible Decisions. This is your girl, Mandy B.
Hi, I'm Wheezy. So I'm really excited for this episode, Ashley. I have to tell you a few things.
Okay.
So I've been a fan of yours for a while. I really love your page.
Really?
And when I met you, I was like, oh, this bitch does not fuck with me. She gave me the total side eye.
No, because you met me at my friend's event and I was already lit. So like I'm walking. No, like I literally, when you met me, my friend Valerie was the one that put on the event. I think.
You think?
I
you don't know which one of your friends put on the event?
No, because there's so many different events that happen at house.
There was a few people doing it. Okay.
Yeah.
Aisha, we had her on the show.
Yeah.
She is the BK, not the Violet BK did that event. That's right. I didn't know you were lit.
Yeah.
I thought maybe you was like not fucking with me.
No,
because
we were smoking outside.
We were.
Yeah.
But
Wait, Violet BK, that's your friend? Mm-hmm. Is that the one
you made out with?
that I made out with? And
that's the one I thought.
I'm like, that name sounds familiar. So what happened is I did a panel for pro sex at Daniel Saint, who's been on our show. He does NSFW. Yeah. So I met all of the House of Yes people, and they were like, oh my God, you have to come out. And I got really drunk that night.
NSFW.
So the girl hits me up. She's like, hey, I made out with your co-host last night. I was like, there's no way. Like, if she knew that we fucked, that would have never happened.
Yeah,
oh my goodness.
no.
She was like,
I also didn't remember making out with her.
I mean, that's how gay shit be happening, though. Like, because
there's not a lot.
Because I be going to, like, because I'm queer, but I be going, now that I'm, like, with more queer people, every time I go into a space, it's like everybody there done fucked each other. They all know of somebody that fucked each other.
When I heard we just made out.
Girl queer parties, dog.
Yeah,
like lesbian parties.
Yeah, like Gush and shit.
Yeah.
But I mean, shit, I be in VIP if I'm with the right athlete and they done brought the right hoes there.
Okay.
I'm making out with them too.
Okay.
I mean,
it's going on.
So I tell you why I thought that, because I have, here goes skinny girl woes. Ready?
Yeah.
I always felt like a lot of body pause girls don't fuck with me because sometimes I'll post and talk about my weight or how I'm feeling or use the word fat for myself, which a lot of people do, right? They're like, oh, I'm feeling fat, or talk about a fupa. And I'm like, I know that what I'm saying is in my head how I'm feeling, and it's also probably coming across as like, bitch, fuck you. Because you ain't that big, but you acting like you are. But am I acting like I am? Am I allowed to say those words? And I want to have a really open conversation about it because I want to know what it feels like on the other side of the table when you see smaller bitches doing shit like that. And if
I mean, and I done said it because I've been across the table from you for 3 years, and when we've gotten it, we've had that conversation with Tahoe, who came on. If you guys want to listen back to maybe the first time we've had Tahoe on. Yeah. Also, real quick, before we get into this, can you introduce your name?
Oh, of course.
What you go by and what you're known for on social media? Because she did send me your page, and your page is phenomenal.
Thank you.
What made people know you?
You have a real good, like, I don't know what your purpose is with your page, but it's fun.
It is. It's fun. So I was like, yeah, I think she would be dope. So
that's awesome.
Can you introduce your name, what we call you for the show, what you go by, and what you're known for?
Well, my real name is Ashley Nicole Tribble.
Yes, government.
I'm trying to make it a thing to use my like middle name because I grew up in the time of like Jonathan Taylor Thomas's and like Sarah Michelle Gellar. So I'm like, if white people can use all 3 of their names, why can't I?
Say that.
And
it's a good 3 name. Ashley Nicole Tribble.
It's strong.
I do like that.
It's strong, but you never really hear a lot of black people using their middle name.
But I will say a lot of black people have the middle name Nicole because baby girl.
Yes, my
middle name is Nicole.
Yes, my mom's name is Nicole.
Oh, okay. My cousin's name is Nicole. That's how I got mine. She ain't want to think
Or you guys could be the same age and it was popular in that year.
Wait, how old are you?
I'm 29.
29. Yeah. Everybody middle name Nicole around here.
Yeah.
Okay. Names are popular amongst the year. They're trendy.
Yes. Yeah. So that makes sense. And so what are you known for?
I'm known for my page, AshleighChubbybunny, which as of like 2017 is when I actually started posting more things. But before then, I was known on Facebook for being a little bit more outspoken, writing essays, and then on Tumblr for basically just reblogging like cool shit that everybody liked, and then like talking about my experiences while I was in college.
Is that your job?
No. As of right now, my job is like freelancing on social media, but like that wasn't like, it's a job, but like it's not like a career.
But I think, I mean, when you are really like known and centered on something, so I know you said 3 years, people have heard our conversation, but I think specifically with you, the fat phobia, I have never read about and seen so much more often than I would say maybe even the last 12 months, maybe even lower, like 6 months.
Yeah.
I feel like it's becoming very apparent. And I also see people saying that it's not real. And so that I want to talk about too.
Okay.
So that's really where I want to dig into that shit today. But for now, we're going to start with vanilla shit. So vanilla shit is our segment where we talk about sex in the news. This one was sent in to me by a friend, Marcus Sanders. Mandy's about to pull it up.
Yeah,
it's on
I think it's
Queer
funny.
Tea?
It's from queertea.com.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good site for gay news.
And this one is hilarious. Also, shout out before we go into this to shout out to Pastor Coriel Scott, who was our guest last month.
Gay as fuck,
Gay
and
as
black,
shit, and amazing.
a
But
man of Jesus.
The vanilla shit for this week is a pastor who says he used oral sex to suck demons out of men. Nigga. A New Jersey minister
Is that Jesus on your fan?
Yes, it is Jesus.
Look,
Ironic.
that's hilarious, right?
I take this to play parties and I be like this.
Not Jesus,
Because
bitch.
it's hot. It's just because it's hot. I know. It's
I'm
not,
dead.
Yeah.
So a New Jersey minister accused of sexually assaulting
This
his
picture.
parishioners has launched a creative defense. He claims he was sucking demons out of them by performing fellatio. 69-year-old Reverend Dr. William Weaver faces a lawsuit by 4 former parishioners, 3 men, 1 woman, who claim that the Presbyterian minister sexually assaulted them when they came to him for spiritual counseling. Documents obtained by Newsweek reveal that during counseling sessions, Weaver asked the 3 men to strip naked and lay down. He would then place an angel coin on their heads, as well as sacred stones on their hands and ankles before performing oral sex.
Yo, honestly, if you dress it up with like the stones and shit,
That's what I'm saying.
you kind of be like, okay.
like,
Listen,
Now it's becoming
wait.
a
No,
thing.
but he says it came from something. Weaver allegedly told his victims that he needed to suck the demons out through their semen and that the ritual had come from Native American lore.
Nah.
At least one victim also reported Weaver kissing him on the mouth during the
Did
ceremony.
you guys
Nah.
watch The Keepers on Netflix? Did anybody watch
I
that?
haven't watched that yet.
Yes,
Do
I
you?
watched it.
Fabulous one. Seriously, really good and deep. Do you remember that he was saying that you have to suck out, or this is my holy water, or you embody the spirit of God from sucking my dick?
Yeah, that's what they did on there.
Nah, fuck this picture. I need to see a
what
real
I'm
picture
saying,
of this
this
nigga.
picture.
Where this nigga? Well, we know
Please
he white.
show
He not a
him.
nigga. Not doing this.
Dr. William. Oh, I said Weaver. never mind.
William
I
Weaver.
thought I said Williams his
Look
last
that
name. I said,
motherfucker
well,
up. Oh, he looked like
no,
he
no,
did it.
no.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
him.
He looked like he did it.
Oh, they got him
Man
right next to the
sucks evil
church.
spirit.
Wow.
Oh yeah, he looked like he's sucking dick.
He looked like he did it. Look at that picture. He's like, yeah, I did it.
He looked. Oh my goodness.
Sucking dick.
So it's crazy because I just went on Grapevine. Shout out to everyone at the Grapevine. We had a conversation about how sex is more spiritual than we lead it to believe.
Oh, yeah.
Do you guys believe in sex, like demons? And
Yeah, I do.
Not that they're maybe attached to your semen, but do you?
I low key do, as somebody that like frequents Creepypasta and watch Top 10. So that's why I'm like dying right now because like,
what's creepypasta?
oh my God. Okay.
Right. I don't know either.
Okay,
I'm
so
like,
like
you guys all know.
creepypasta is basically like it's a genre of like scary stories that like have it's like a culmination of urban legends, Reddit, 4chan threads, all kinds of creepy shit that comes from all over the internet, and people just literally engage in it and share it. And there's even like this thing that's like I think it's called SPC, where they make up like actual fake monsters and characters that they talk about. Yeah, look, creepypasta, where they talk about like it's real, and it's like I just think it's so interesting, and I really love like scary shit, and the other stuff that I used to look at wasn't doing it for me.
Girl,
So I just fell in a hole. I fell in a hole of all of this stuff.
Yo,
and
I
I
want to
like,
get high.
I'm not even gonna lie. I said I was gonna start doing some more reading.
I'm obsessed.
This can start.
I'm obsessed with it. It's so fun, but it's very scary. Do not watch it at night.
I'm gonna be real with you. Reading scary stuff is actually worse for me
The
than watching.
videos are worse.
Wait,
Yeah.
because videos.
There's videos
like
too.
reenactments.
No, on YouTube sometimes,
They'll, like,
and then
read
like
it.
how they set it up.
Type
and
in
how, like,
creepypasta sex.
Yeah,
Let's make it relatable.
sex. I've
Oh,
never.
you
heard,
thought
I've
you
never
thought it was
seen.
gonna come up?
Oh, there's
Stretching
stretching
party.
party.
Wow.
Oh,
That's
about
all
it.
that really comes up.
Wow.
So real quick, I want to read what it says. I'm into BDSM.
Oops, sorry, Mama.
Go ahead. It says I'm into BDSM, bondage, shit like that. Some people might find that weird, but I'm sure those people are into things others might find strange. So let's not judge. I mention this because it's important to what happened. It gives you an idea
then
of,
you
and it says read more.
Yeah, and then you just get into it, and you're like,
Oh,
oh, this
Jesus.
is wild.
It's like you read it. I don't know what the hell that is.
It's a pop-up.
It's like you read it, and
This
then like
looks
at
like
the
it's
end, it's
gonna
like
give
based on
me
a true
a,
story.
and it actually
Hold
gives
on,
you
wait,
the
scroll
reading
up.
time too.
I'm trying to skim it.
I'm dead that they're
I
like
gotta
getting
know
in
what
the
this show-
creepypasta now. It's this way.
Scroll up more.
Well, it says it's 7 minutes of reading. I don't want to get into 7
Yeah.
minutes of reading.
But definitely check out.
Maybe
That's
we'll do
an
this.
awesome
Maybe we'll do this for a
estimated
Patreon
reading
episode.
time. I love that.
Maybe we'll do this for a Patreon episode.
good idea.
I
Find
should
some.
do a creepypasta episode.
Hey, look at you
Yeah.
giving us content. All right.
Yes.
Well, I think so. I'm not. Yeah, I don't want to put him too much on the screen. We know what that motherfucker is. I don't think that I could suck out the demons of you through your semen, but I do be snatching souls.
I mean, that's
you
maybe
know,
he thought that's
what he thought.
Yeah.
So like I think demons are real because not demons, but and this also could be manifesting too. Like I've met people that I feel like are not just clairvoyant, but have a lot of power in making something happen. For example, like my friend and I were talking about this. Shout out to Layla. She's actually been on a Patreon episode of ours. She's like, I know how strong my manifestation is because I've watched it happen. She's like, my man was teasing me about always getting sick. And she's like, and I was so irritated and so strong-willed. And I was like, you are absolutely going to get sick. Watch. I know it. You're going to get sick.
No.
It's going to fucking happen, nigga. And she's like, on some teasing shit. She's like, 2 days later, it happened. She
Maybe
said,
he got sick from being around her sick ass.
I mean,
but they've been together for years and he never got sick. And she's like, I was wishing it on him. I was so annoyed with him. She was like, you could absolutely put that shit on somebody.
yeah.
I want to ask you because we had Amelia Ortiz on here, and she talked about the spirit, like just things with energy and manifesting as well with crystals and ropes.
Yeah.
Do you believe in those things and bringing them into the bedroom, or if they can affect your love life at all?
I feel like this year I've been learning more about that because one of the many friends I've had throw an event at House Yes talked about not only blood magic, but sex magic. And so they talked about sex magic through masturbation, but also sex magic through like partner stimulation and orgasm.
wow.
So like I'm looking more into that right now, but I do feel like that's something that actually does occur because when you think about it, there's so much like, you know what orgasm feels like, right? It feels like really good. So just imagine that power being harnessed and at that moment where you're like, oh, I'm about to like, you're not thinking about anything else if you just like manifest or think about or visualize something you want to happen. People are saying that when you get to that height, if you do that, it helps manifest situations and circumstances that you want. And I'm like,
We have had 3 people on that have talked about that. I'm curious to know who you know. Kristen Solier, you heard of her? Witches, Sluts, and Feminists?
no.
Weird white chick, but lit. Read her book at the Blue Stockings bookstore. And she came on and she talks about black witches in her book, which actually that's what really I was like, I don't call it. But she said like, you want love and you want red, you want money, put that fucking green light on.
Yeah.
Amelia Ortiz has talked about that as well. And Liz Goldwyn more recently talked about sex magic. And I've tried it. And I feel like it only works for me when I'm completely invested and wrapped in it and not teasing about it and or high. I have to be on some kind of psychedelic to actually connect in that way or else I start making it like a joke to myself.
I feel like that might be part of the ritual though, because we use drugs to do other things and like get into another plane of like either existence or thought when we want to actually be a part of something. Like I don't think anybody just gets high just to get high. People actually like to do stuff.
It's crazy.
Yeah, they like to create stuff.
Brianda from Super Trip, she gave me some shrooms, was still too scared to ever take them, never took them. And then shout out to our fans who did meet and greet in Boston.
All y'all niggas gave us
them
drugs.
niggas gave us pre-rolls, edibles.
You know, they're really excited about the legal weed. They just don't know what to do.
They was just bringing it.
It's not fair.
Real quick,
I just found out.
I smoked one of the pre-rolls that they gave us.
You might.
Oh, I gave them one of the pre-rolls. Well, I smoked one of the pre-rolls last night, and the way my motherfucking heart was beating, it was some indica. I don't remember what the fuck it was called. I was just like, oh, nah, nigga, I ain't smoking that shit no more.
Weed is
like,
scary
my
as fuck,
head,
dog.
I felt my heartbeat in my forehead while I was laying down.
I think
I was like, I'm about to die.
The shroom is a different experience. Like, you got to be really comfortable. I think with hallucinogens too, like acid, shrooms, I think the number one thing that someone told me that was great advice was like, If you have any dark place you could go right now, possibly
Don't do shrooms.
Don't do shrooms.
That's what everybody keeps telling me. That's why I haven't done it yet.
That's why I ain't done it yet, bitch. I know I'm happy, but
No.
there's some deep. I be bothered by some things.
I be watching
and
too much Creepypasta.
I'm just not gonna do it. I'm just not gonna do it.
I'm one of
Just
those
not
people
gonna do
that's
it.
like a ghost could be here, but not really. And then like, I'm like,
A
oh,
ghost
but demon
could be here.
Yeah, and I think that demons are scarier than ghosts because they're not human. They were never human. So therefore, like that's malevolent forces right there. So therefore, why would I want to get high? And I'm thinking about all this Creepypasta shit.
I don't know if you guys have ever met a ghost, but I was with Vinny at a house
I
in
don't
New
know if y'all
Orleans.
ever met a ghost.
Yes, I don't
I have a
know.
story to tell y'all.
About this ghost I met.
What the fuck, bro?
So we're in New Orleans,
No,
right?
'cause
It's
it's gonna
like
happen
this
to
is
me
years
now.
ago, maybe 6 years ago, and we're in this creepy ass house, and we were making jokes about how someone died there. Now, not only
See,
is
that's
New
why I
Orleans,
saw that ghost.
Right.
oh no, this goes real big. I know the lights turned off and shit. So hold on. If you've ever been to New Orleans, if you're a New Orleans listener, right? There's a lot of voodoo culture, a lot of spirits and things like that are always talked about. And this house was very old, and there was this box. I want to say it was Latasha. And so Vinny opens the closet and he said, "That's the dead bitch clothes." I was like,
Nah,
"Yeah."
bruh. Nah.
So
Nope.
we're joking around, but the house was fire. It's like 6 bedrooms, French Quarter, like old shit, right? We're with a bunch of friends. So we come home. Our house is the only house on the block where still. Okay. So.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. We didn't know. He's listening to it.
Okay.
So the house is the only house on the block that the electricity went off in. And I was like, what the fuck? Turns out it's just an outage in this one electrical box. Bro, we trying to go to sleep. Latasha is running through the house.
Nope.
I'm in the bed with one of my friends, right? Shout out to Donaldo.
No.
We're sleeping. He's like, bruh. I was like, yo, it's out there, isn't it? And he was like, I mean, it's so late. What are we going to do? I was like, you know what? I could live with the ghost. Vinny comes upstairs, high as shit, talking about, babe, just relax. Just don't bother her. We're in her space.
No.
We're violating. If we just act like we're fine, she's going to be fine. I'm like, someone
bruh.
get me a Xanax. Bruh.
No.
He legit made us sit there. He's like, yo, we called Airbnb. There was nothing else that weekend. We were fucked, right?
Nah, bro.
So I said, well, what are we going to do? And he was like, we have to let her know that we're here, establish our presence. We was Googling how to talk to a ghost. He's like, and let her know that we come in peace because, bitch, we've been talking shit all day. I was like, all right, fine. We get a candle. We're all in the fucking kitchen trying to let her know we're chill. Don't you know at 10 a.m. them lights turn back on? Randomly. Not by calling electricity. This was like 7 or 6. While we all went to sleep, woke up, it was on. I'm like, yo, Latasha, chill, bro.
I'm cool.
She was real.
I'm just trying to think about how y'all like explain that to Airbnb. Like, we need to move because it's haunted in this bitch.
Oh,
like,
I
y'all
just
need to, like, go
complained
ahead.
about the electricity.
Oh.
And then I thought if I said ghost, they thought I would have been tripping.
Yeah, and see, it's crazy because me and my cousins, like when we were growing up, like my cousin, shout out to my cousin Jerry, he used to be into all that shit. So this nigga bought a Ouija board.
No!
So listen,
No.
we in
That's
his
just
house.
scary.
We spend the night because my mama worked the weekends. So we at my cousin's house, and the shit moving. Now I know he was making that shit move. But bitch, we was talking to some spirit, and we had a whole fucking Ouija board, and we're all like, the lights flick. We used to do
The
this
lights
shit. girl.
flickered?
Listen, yes, but I don't know if he just set that shit up. My cousin Jerry used to be into all this shit. And
I
we
think it's
literally
real.
had a Ouija board. And mind you, this was the time, y'all know if y'all been listening to the podcast, I used to be into Charmed like crazy. So like, I was into all that shit. We was like calling into succubuses and all that shit. And I was like, oh, bitch. We letting the demons into our lives by bringing them through this Ouija board. Because you bring them from like the other realm they in a Ouija
Another
board.
dimension.
And people don't know
Yeah,
how to
man.
and people don't know how to like cut that connection either. They'll be freaked out by the Ouija board and they'll just like throw it away or something, and the spirits will still be there.
And listen, as an adult, now
Yeah.
fuck that. The Ouija board
They'll
is these
do what?
niggas
And they're there? What'd you say?
So like when people like start freaking out when
Yeah.
the board starts to
The
move
board
and
will
shit
move.
start happening, they like will like be like, nah, like we're not doing this, and they don't know how to close the portal, so the thing will
Yeah.
still be there.
You know what this remind me of?
Yeah.
Devil dick.
Yeah.
You scared, dog? Listen.
Where did I go? This creepy
Nah,
pasta
bro.
bring spooky shit.
thought
I'm
we was
sorry.
gonna talk about Big Bitch Revolution.
I'm sorry.
Motherfucker.
I'm a spooky big bitch. I'm sorry. I bring that everywhere with me.
no
I'm
bullshit
sorry.
though. When that shit is real, people know it's real. I
Yeah.
called my homegirl, Amelia. We just brought up Amelia Ortiz, and I was like, yo, when I was depressed, I was like, I'm not feeling too good right now, and I don't know what's going on, and I just kind of feel like there's this like target on my back. I can feel this weight, and she's like, no. Like, not even like I'm saying anything crazy. Yep, absolutely. And maybe somebody put it on you.
Yeah.
She was like, I can tell you how to break it, how to cut those cords, how to cleanse yourself. I was like, yo, can you recommend me somebody? I'm freaking out. And she, like, with no, because I'm making, not a joke, but like, yo, I'm feeling like blah, blah, blah. And she's like, yeah, probably.
How do you close the portal of that? I'm asking this. So I'm asking this not for the Ouija board, but I feel like Devil Dick does the same. So
Dick.
I cut.
That's very important.
So I cut 24/7 off. Me and him no longer fuck.
Yeah.
And since then, I've had niggas who can't stay hard in condoms. They
that's
just
gonna be
like
me.
I've been trying to find other like just casual sex partners, and literally since I've cut him off, it's been 3 niggas. Sorry, and I don't know if it's because them niggas just don't want to fuck with a condom. I don't know if it's the liquor. I don't know if my mind is fucked.
Close the
Like,
portal.
no, my nigga, let's go. Close the portal. How do I close the portal on Devil
I don't
Dick?
know how to
Bitch?
tell you because I'm coming out of my own double dick situation.
Bitch,
I
close the
don't
portal.
like showed it on my Instagram. This nigga, like, somebody was like, maybe he's a sex
Bitch,
demon.
he's a sex.
Maybe like you
Let me
manifested
tell you,
him.
I've literally tried.
Yeah.
Listen,
I want you to
hold on.
come down.
This is how bad it's been. I've literally tried to fuck 3 niggas since cutting this nigga off in October.
It
Niggas
happens.
don't stay hard in condoms. Nigga, then I told y'all, maybe in another episode, Patreon, I don't know. A nigga paid $1,100 to fly me to Denver for 12 hours just to get dick, and I was gonna go. Nigga, I got stuck on the runway for 3 hours. When I tell you, I've been trying to get dick from niggas, and since I cut that nigga off, I have not been able to fuck. So how we close the portal
have
on
a
Devil
theory,
Dick, bro?
but I don't know if you wanna
because
hear
I'm
it.
No,
dealing
bitch,
with
what's the
the
theory,
same
bitch? What's the
thing.
theory, bitch?
Close the
So
we
portal.
need to cut the
I don't
portal
know
off.
if you've ever heard our show,
close the
but
portal.
Mandy be
Don't do
talking
this.
about how she fucked married niggas. And I got a theory.
Here we go with the bullshit.
I'm serious.
No, bitch.
I got a theory that someone prayed just like J.R. Smith's wife prayed.
For you.
Somebody prayed in their front seat.
What?
Somebody prayed in their front seat.
Curse coochie, bro.
I ain't got no curse coochie. You know
She
what?
said,
Because the
Lord-
married nigga still on my phone.
It don't matter though, but you ain't getting dick.
Because
All the dick in the world.
bro, all the dick in the world.
This is
you know
true.
this nigga been my friend for, and I was like, you know what? We ain't fucking. I know I don't be fucking friends, but I want dick, so let's. And I couldn't even get on.
Dude,
What
do
the
any
fuck?
of your married guys that
Sometimes
you talk to have
duos aren't
Spanish
the
wives? Because they
best.
definitely did.
I don't
something.
even know these niggas' wives. I don't know the name, how many kids they got. We
If
don't
they
talk
Latina,
about it.
it probably is definitely real. Because them
Or
bitches,
Haitian.
Listen,
Goddamn,
do not
I need
get
to-
Latina bitches off your side,
They'll
dog.
find you.
They will.
Damn.
And them
All
bitches
I
was
know
like
is-
full court. Who?
I need to close the goddamn portal for the devil dick.
I feel like that's what I'm trying to do too, because what I talked about on my Instagram when I called that dude out was
shit.
I was like, oh, this is a musician. He has like, this is the best dick I've had like in months, like all year. Like if I had like a little
Shout out to Sis
Spotify.
saying months, because bitches be like
Yes.
years my whole life. She was like months.
Yeah, but like
I done broke the
it
goddamn
was
mic.
kind of like a Spotify playlist. If you like think about your dick, like your little plays of the year, Spotify end of the year wrap up. Like I probably had 4 decent dick
Yeah.
appointments, but then like when I have one that was like
Your
it happened,
Spotify wrap up.
Yes, it happened for a month, like your Slutify wrap up. Like for a month, like it was solid, just like demon dick the entire time.
Now,
like he would
demon
come over.
dick. What is demon dick to you?
Demon dick? I honestly think that after years of joking about this, I manifested him. And so every time you say your friend's name, I keep having flashbacks about him because those names are so similar. But I'm not gonna name his name. But like what ended up happening was
Shit.
he was always like on time to my place. He would always show up, and like I knew that was a bad idea, but like it wasn't like I would try to get past like the unpleasantries so we could fuck, and that's what happened. So I was stuck in that spot where I literally wouldn't go anywhere afterwards. I would plan my whole day around it, and then like
Me
he
too,
was
sis.
able to like get away with certain things because I was just like, well, he's bringing dick.
Great dick.
Like it's great dick, and like he's bringing it like regularly and consistently. And so like after like I had to kick him out of my apartment, he thought that I was kidding because I was literally like I was letting so much shit slide, and then he said something that was the last straw, and I kicked him out.
What did he say?
Okay, he said that me not being able to finish that time was not his fault because larger people take longer to orgasm.
Oh, bitch.
Excuse me, say what?
He said
Yeah.
what?
He said that me not finishing, like me not having an orgasm, was not his fault because larger people take longer to orgasm.
Now, bitch.
Oh, no, bitch. That
And
nigga he would have got sliced.
In my life, I've never
Let's put
ever,
a spell on that nigga.
like
He
open
said
the
the
portal
Talking
back
about
up.
spells. Talking
But I'm
about
trying to
spells.
close that portal right now because now I'm like
Bitch,
fiending.
what
I'm just
did you
like, I
do?
can't
Yeah,
text
that's crazy.
him. Don't text him. Don't
Now,
talk to him.
this is what I gotta know.
Yeah.
You are very loud and proud about when you don't appreciate shit or whatever.
am.
Did you could you almost not talk? Nigga, I would have, what?
No, it was just like, it was weird because the way that I explained it to my friends the whole way, I would tell them the stuff he did.
How
and they'd
long
be
were
like,
y'all sleeping with each
a
other?
month. A whole month of just like me seeing him more than I saw my friends, like, because it's all we did. And so like what ended up happening was...
He said what?
Yes.
I have never...
But like every time he would say something, it was worse than the last thing he said. And my body was like, I was having visceral reactions to it. But I'd be like, is this the time you're going to kick him out, Ashley? Is this the time that dick's not going to be enough? Is this the time you're going to be like,
niggas
this
are
is over?
trash.
They're trash.
You know, and like I know this is 2020 episode,
Yeah.
but y'all ain't learned shit.
They still have it. He's 31 years old. This
Girl,
is how
that don't mean shit.
This is how he lives
Right.
his life. So like, I was like, why didn't I say anything when he showed me that he had only $11 in his account? Why didn't I say anything when he was like,
he was a broke nigga too?
That's why I told you I manifested
Nah, that dick
because
was
I would
real
always
good.
joke about
I know it was good.
'cause that's all he had. So that's
He was
when I
trying to
told
move
him.
in.
Yeah, so that's when I said like, oh, like when I would actually mention hanging out with other men, he was like, or talking to other men, he got self-conscious because he knew that's all he had was just a dick. So if somebody else's dick is coming in, he's like, oh, I don't understand. It's like, we're not together. This is not exclusive. But he has said things that I felt were worse about it. He's made rape jokes. He's made other things. He said other things. He ruined my first viewing of Superfly. So like, it was just so much going on. And that final thing was like, you know what? He has to leave. He has to. He
told me
did.
the
That
ending.
movie is amazing. That movie is amazing. I was like, why is it just now taking me this long
I'm
to watch
really
it?
sitting here with my mouth open.
Yeah.
And the reason being is because I want to use you as an example for strong women that people can't believe get heartbroken.
People
You
still
can
don't believe that.
People, you can truly, niggas will really fuck a person up.
Yeah.
Who would think that you could, after everything you preach, it's like, this is really how men get in your fucking brain,
That's why I
dog.
talked about it, because I was like, I was so embarrassed by it, but I was like, nah. First of all, he has a music career he's trying to promote. I'm gonna like, that's gonna be over. He also has ties to Zoe Kravitz. So I was like, that's definitely gonna be over because she about to be our Catwoman. Whether or not it's gonna be good, why the fuck are you speaking about her? And then on top of that, I wanted people to know that even if I am somebody that talks out about what I want, how this platform or whatever, or this perceived amount of like confidence, this still happens to me too. So it doesn't matter like where you're at in life or like where you think you need to be. Niggas really ain't shit.
But it's
And
not
so,
only
like,
niggas. I would say it's people. Like even with this platform.
I'm sorry, man.
We talk about.
I feel triggered.
We you know, we come on this platform. We're almost 3 years in.
Yeah.
And there's even still some. I went on a podcast. It may have been actually Tahoe's or you know, and we openly talk about claiming the slut title and the whore title and all these things. But even to be introduced as a hoe.
Yeah.
Like
people don't like that.
no, and
Yeah.
I'm more like, don't demean me because that's a word for men to demean me. So when a man says it, I just feel away. But it's crazy because at the same time, I am on this platform.
Yeah.
Also, even with weight, like I've had people, you know, talk about my weight and certain things, and I've discussed my journey. But the same way he said, you know, well, it takes longer for you to come because of your size.
And that
I've
was
had
a big
niggas
problem.
who have like, well, can I fuck you before you lose the weight?
Wow.
Like, and
Yeah.
have said things like that, and it's just like, you do come off really strong. So to know that someone mentioning something about your weight has an effect on you, I commend you for being open
Get
about
out
that.
of my apartment. Like I love kicking people out of my apartment. So
Bitch, I
I'm
love
like
blocking people.
You have to get out. Get out. You have to leave. I was like, you need to leave. And I even like had this whole. It was like this whole fucking like Angela Bassett monologue because I'm telling you, like, we had just got done having sex and I'm just now wrapping my head around the fact that like, oh, he really not only came on my ass, but like I didn't come. And then he sat there putting on his shoes talking about it's not my problem. So I'm like still lit and I'm like sitting up in the bed and I think that my subconscious was like, Ashley, this is it. This is it. So it was like, I was like, you know what? I was wondering how long it would take and what would be like the final thing to get me to kick you out of my apartment and never see you again.
And that was it.
And that was it.
100%.
And I was just like, how fucking dare you? You have nothing. You literally have nothing. And like the fact that this is what it took for me to kick you out, I was like, I'm embarrassed, but I was like, you have to leave. I don't want to see you again. Do not contact me. Do not come to my apartment anymore. He thought I was kidding, so he tried to kiss me before he left, and I said, please leave. Do not come back. He called me and proceeded to harass me from that Thursday all the way to that Monday, texting me, let's fuck. Are you really that mad? Are we breaking up? Oh, all I said was this. He doubled down. All I said is that this is why it takes fat people too long to come, and like it's science, is not me. That's why they have terrible.
That's why I don't believe in science, bitch.
Yeah,
Told you, fuck that shit.
No, he don't know science. He don't know science.
Can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question? You're 29.
Yeah.
This happened recently.
Yeah.
any other man in your life ever said anything regarding sex and your weight,
Almost
or
definitely.
your weight and your attractiveness to them? And can you share some of those things that were
Almost
said?
definitely. That happens, like, especially since now we're using like online apps and stuff, and then sometimes in person. I successfully picked somebody up in person in the beginning of this year, so that's why I thought, I was like, oh, okay, I can do this. But then like,
but face.
it happens. But then like when I would get approached by people on dating apps, or even not even that, because that seems to be an issue in itself. When I talk to people, they kind of expect me to put in the work. So therefore, I've heard it shouldn't take all of this to fuck you. You're a fat girl.
What?
This one guy actually yesterday told me, he read my OkCupid profile, and it was like, I don't want to be an experiment. Don't talk to me if you're not used to dating women like me. And he was like, I don't see you as an experiment. He said, I have other big black girls. That's what he said.
He was white?
He's white. And actually what was funny is that the guy that I like exorcised from my home, the dick demon, he had me in his phone as big black girl. And I saw it.
You saw it?
He's not black. I saw it when he like screenshotted me when he was trying to like tell me that I said something I didn't. I was like,
Big
am I really
Black
in your
Girl was
phone
your
as
name?
Big black girl? And so like,
I have so many feelings that I feel like I need to get out, and I
they
didn't
don't
fuck the
think that
nigga.
they have to speak to me respectfully because it shouldn't be all of that to fuck me. That's what they
This
usually
is
try.
why
That's what they
it's
say.
funny. Mandy and I had a conversation, and I think
Yeah.
it's because she doesn't fuck white dudes.
Yeah.
I do from time to time, right? And I'm always like, I hate the word BBC. And she's like, I don't know what the big deal is. And now I'm it's hitting me a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's because if I hear that word,
Yeah.
I've never heard a nigga, like I've never heard
think of
black men say that.
blacks.com.
You feel like white men are saying it, like white men are saying the color. I just have a few things to say about this nigga that really trips me out. We got to get off of it because fuck him. I was on IG Live the other day where this dude was like trying to troll me that had no picture. Yeah. And I was like, it's always these poor niggas. And someone said, stop trying to weaponize the word poor. And I said, I'll tell you why I need to. Because it's facts. Having $11 left is poor as fuck. And nigga, you have the nerve to bring you and your dusty dick over here and tell me niggas would pay to fuck me.
This is true.
And
I worked in
you're
a dungeon
telling
where
me-
niggas literally put my toes in their mouth and paid me for that. So it's just like, why do you think that you're better than me and you only have $11?
It's poor niggas, I'm telling you.
And then like on top of that, what he would do, he also tried to get on me because he found my Instagram and he was like, body positivity. I thought that it was like all right, but now people are just thinking it's okay to have heart attacks, and like I just feel like you're playing a game. Like, don't get me wrong.
I saw that Jillian Michaels recently said that. Let's talk about that. So the horrible decision for this week is, can I say the word fat? I never thought that I could.
Big old fat dick.
I thought
Shit.
I thought fat was like a bad word for me to say. I thought you use other verbiage like do big. See, I can't even say it. Do fat people not like the word being called fat? And like, can you explain just the journey of fat? If you've always appreciated that word, if you've used other things, like, yeah.
I think it depends because there was a pivotal moment for me in college where they had the Love Your Body Week where this was the first time I ever saw a woman that was bigger than me in her underwear in public. So it was like a demonstration on campus where everybody made signs and stuff. It was a part of like a different organization on campus where they would all go out in their underwear with signs and like basically tell people that they look amazing and like that they should love their bodies and stuff like that. And I was like, this is amazing. So I went out there and I like took off my top and like I had my bra on, but I was just like, this is cool. Like, and I met a lot of different people that way. And throughout trying to understand more about that and then becoming a like officer in the feminist organization on campus and doing a lot of unpacking because that's what it required, I became okay with the word fat because it's what I felt physically described me. And up until that point, I would hear it and it would feel literally like somebody was like poking me with needles. And that's not like a
Because when I feel like I hear the word,
yeah,
it's like, I don't want to use the word slur. It's like, it's used to demean.
it's used as demean, but it's weird because when it is used to demean, it's used by people that don't think that these people think or know that they're fat. So it's like, I'm going to remind you that you're a fat bitch. And so that's why my friend, like,
that shit is
she
always
made
weird.
a shirt that said fat bitch. And like, you have all ththese women that are fat wearing their shirt that says fat bitch because that's been reclaimed as like, okay, that's that's a fact because I am a fat bitch. We're not getting around
the
that
same
fact.
way we're reclaiming whore and slut and all these terms
But it's just
now.
like if it's used in a way that's meant to demean, then people can see through it. So I think it depends. It's on a case by case basis. It's kind of like with black people that swear nobody should say nigga, and then you have some black people who are like, you shouldn't say that around me, like, or you can't say it around me. It's a case by case. Would I go around and call everybody fat if I wasn't fat? No, because I'd be like, you might not be okay with that, but as somebody that is fat,
reclaiming your own word,
reclaiming that word it's been a very big step in being okay with my fatness. Because honestly, if you're somebody that struggles with that word still, that means that you're still feeling the negative connotations of it, and you might not be able to accept the fact that you're fat.
I did, and we actually on our Patreon episode, shout out to Naima.
Mindy had VSG, by the way. I know you heard her say my journey.
I had the gastric sleeve. So I went from 230 pounds. Mind you, I'm 5'1". So I went from 230 pounds, and I vary depending on my cycle, the time of the month, between 150 and 157-ish. And so we had the conversation, and I've been referred to as fluffy, chubby, nigga, specifically island men. Used to love to just rub on my stomach and my rolls and stuff like that. And that always made me uncomfortable.
Does that make you uncomfortable?
No.
I hated it.
I think it doesn't happen enough. I think that's weird because they try to pretend like the rest of you's not there.
So...
Because I have
it's funny that you say you hate it. One of my friends who's big always says she loved it.
Because it makes you feel more present. So, like, you can kind of tell. I think it might be coming from a point where you're like, I feel like I'm being fetishized.
That's where I come from.
Thing. So there's a thing. If it's like, you can always tell when you're being fetishized during a sexual situation.
You can.
When they only focus on, like, certain parts of your body and talking about your body in a very fetishy way. Like, I can.
How do men celebrate your size without making...
Body worship. I feel like the kind of body worship that I go through...
Because that, to me, is body worship.
No, it's different. It's different from you massaging my body or you being a lover who is just like, I love you any size. All my like hoes and shit, they're, mind you, I've been fucking them for 10 years, 6 years, 7 years. So they've been with me throughout all of my weight gains and losses. And they're just like, I love you at either size.
Yeah.
But when I was at my biggest, it would be niggas that were just laying and they're just going like, you know, squeeze your stomach.
Yeah.
You're not worshiping my body. You're literally grabbing and you're touching. I don't like that. You get what I'm saying?
Definitely rubbing, like not focusing just on that particular way. That makes sense.
Because like the guy that I had to kick out, like there's like a place in between my tummy and where my fupa is that I never had anybody like be like, I like that place, and he would kiss it, and I'm like, oh, that feels really nice.
Kissing it, that's cute.
Like, but if it's like, if they're doing this thing where they like grab your arms and then they grab,
they grab your thighs, your stomach. You're like, hate it. What are you doing? And that's uncomfortable. And you as someone who's big. And
to be fair, I've never had a nigga grab my arms.
But we could portray ourselves.
That shit is really
As someone who's dealt with not only fat phobia, of course, even with my loss of jokes, y'all have listened to Brilliant Idiots, Charlemagne, Mouse. So many people have come to me with still the fat jokes, like, oh, now that I've lost all the weight, now they can say all the fat jokes to my face, type of thing. And so to go through that, but also to have men, I've been like, a nigga has paid me. And of course, I taxed him, but literally because he said, I want to see if I can just fuck someone your size, if I can last. He didn't last, but he gave me money just because he was like, I've never fucked anyone your size, and you look like fun.
And I think that's weird. Because it's weird because it's already, they're coming out the gate othering you instead of appreciating you. And that's what a lot of men, like, that's how they talk to me online. You look like you're fun. Some of the first messages I've gotten, do you suck dick? You look like you know how to suck dick very well.
Because you eat?
Why do they say that, bro?
Because that's what we're regulated to. We're just putting shit in our mouth.
I am very insecure about big girls fucking sucking my nigga's dick off, dog.
No, but like,
how does everybody say this shit?
But that's because that's what they say, and it's not. I personally don't think it's something. I don't celebrate that.
Me neither.
Because it's not coming
from a good place. And big girls be saying like, oh, you know I could da-da-da-da.
Because that's what they're holding on to when it comes to being desirable. I can do something for you. That's what makes me desirable. And that's not okay. Because that's some of the first ways that we're introduced to desirability. We're not given desirability. So a lot of like fat women
are using their sex for...
Not even just that. When you talk to them about how they're being socialized and romantically socialized as to how they're supposed to appeal to the other sex, basically, because we're not being taught like... that it's okay. At that time, we weren't being taught it's okay to be with somebody that's not a man as a woman. And so therefore, our socialization came in the way of like, you have to be able to provide something for everybody to have them want to be around you. When it comes to like other, like the opposite sex in your grade, you have to be able to give them something. And because they don't find your body that desirable, you have to be able to use something.
Overcompensate.
You have to overcompensate. And so that's why it's weird because everybody... Like with the Jill Scott thing, that's why I was so cringed out about it, because it's like everybody came out the woodwork. I can suck dick. I can do it. It's like, yeah, because you feel like that's the only way to gain desirability in your current body. And that's how we were taught to gain desirability in our bodies. And it's really fucked up, because we enjoy sex too. And I would love to be able to be like somebody that's like, yeah, I love sucking dick, da 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 da. But it's always going to be taken as like a, oh, this
because
is what
you could eat dick.
Or because like how I used to get on OkCupid, like, is it true that big girls appreciate sex more because they don't get it enough? Is it true that big girls suck dick better because they don't have sex a lot? Nobody wants to fuck them.
That's a wild, like...
It's wild, but it happens. And so that's like what is usually most of the conversation, is all these dumbass questions about fat girl sexuality that they obviously exist for some reason. It's obviously like a very much consensus around like men that want to have sex with fat women but don't know how to talk to them.
And they won't open out. They also won't be open on social media to admit that these are the type of women they preference.
Oh, yeah.
Like they'll date and so I've dealt with men even in my bigger size that will publicly be with Victoria's Secret models and go out and claim these small girls and be like, oh my God, but
I have so many friends that have that. They're like, even the niggas they with will be like, he only reposts thin women, and he like, we've been together for like 2 years. Yeah, and I'm just like, that's very strange.
That's not what I look like. Right.
Because they would turn it into like, oh, that's just my social media. Why are you bugging? Especially when Tumblr was like really big and easier to reblog certain photos and stuff. It's easy to get caught up in that, but like also you seeing how your partner interact in those ways. Why are they reposting people that look the complete opposite of you, but then tell you that no, like it's not that?
That's interesting.
That's very interesting.
What I find interesting about that is how, like, okay, I worked with someone at my last job who was maybe almost 400 pounds, skinny white dude she dated, and she was never fucking short of a date, right? Always meeting people, and she was active, wasn't like not able to move around, and like would go to the doctor. And I asked her when Mandy had got VSG. I went to the hospital that day. I was like, oh, I wanted to ask you, like, what do you know about it? I was like, I'm on my way to go see my co-host, blah, blah, blah. She's like, well, I know that my doctor told me I was healthy, and if I wanted to get it, I could, and I chose not to. And she's like, and I sometimes feel like because I am bigger, people always wonder why I'm not getting it.
Yeah.
And she's like, and it really drives me nuts that like, I can go to a health professional that tells me I'm okay, and people still feel like that's the choice I could make.
First of all, your friend's lucky, because that's never the conversation or how it goes when you go to a doctor if you're 400 pounds.
I was going to say, even when I was growing up in middle school, I was labeled obese. They go by the BMI scale. Even though I had thighs and hips, and to me it was proportionate, I've always been told from when I was in maybe 12 years old, because I'm obese on this BMI scale, that I risk high cholesterol, I'm unhealthy, I have sleep apnea.
And they say
a scale that was created in the Middle Ages that only was for shorter people in a certain region of the fucking country. I mean, I'm sorry, of the world, and was used to keep track of that population's like health status, is still being used today.
I wouldn't even deny. I wouldn't even go as far to say that. Honestly,
the BMI is weird.
Well, not only BMI. Because I've gone through this whole procedure of losing weight, and I have 2 friends that have done VSG, well, 3 friends who've done VSG, one who did VSG and the gastric bypass. I know that as someone who's been considered obese for pretty much majority of my life, there's no way at 400 pounds a doctor is saying, oh, well, you're healthy, you don't really need it.
Yeah, because they don't care. They're a doctor, which I still think is weird when they do speak to fat patients.
She's tall too.
They do.
They're not thinking of like oh, you're fine. They're thinking of like preventative measures for whatever, like insurance, whatever the fuck. So like they're usually more in like you can come in there and not even be seeking anything that's weight related. Like when I went to a doctor, I want to say last summer, and I was like, oh, it's like a public doctor's like through the community or whatever. I went in there for like a blood test because I needed to like get tested and stuff. And this woman literally was like, okay, well, obviously we need to sign you up for a gynecologist visit and then a nutritionist visit. And I was like, what? I'm so serious. I never went back. I still get emails and phone calls from them to this day.
My first ENT, I had tubes put into my ears because I have very bad sinuses. Yeah. I talked about it on the show. So I went in there for my tube. Both of my ears got infected, so they had to drain it and then put the tubes. And mind you, he's an ENT.
Yeah.
He goes to ask me if I have snoring problems. And I'm like,
I was gonna say you have sleep apnea because you fat.
so that's literally
that is a thing, isn't it?
Literally,
A lot of people that are not fat have sleep apnea.
right. It doesn't. Right,
But
it
they
can't
say
do with
that
your
weight
weight.
loss can help. You said you stopped snoring.
Well, the people around me, I have, but I mean, I was able to sleep. The sleep apnea is that you can have shortness of breath. So it's not even really the snoring, but it's more so that when you're sleeping, if you're big, if you're large in size, that while you're sleeping, you could miss a breath and you could probably die. Like
So
you could
here's the
stop breathing.
interesting thing, right? Because the sleep apnea thing, if it was true, or the snoring, and you stopped when you got your VSG, you mentioned that. How do like doctors, in essence, figure out if they can help you, and how do you want them to speak to you? I would ask.
I don't know.
Because the nutritionist thing, I think, is too far, but the sleep apnea thing, I think, is.
but skinny people can have sleep
Yeah,
apnea.
the thing that went even further
Not just the
though
weight
is that
thing.
she didn't even make the appointment for the gynecologist, but she made sure to make that appointment for the nutritionist. She was like, "Oh, I can't really do anything for the
crazy.
gynecologist because she's not here today." Because it was like after a certain time, like, "Oh, but the nutritionist is." So you went out of your way to make the doctor's appointment for the nutritionist.
It is wild because, like, I'm looking at you and I'm like, and here's another thing that's like, I really want to talk about is like, oh, how could they say that? She's not that big.
Because the
what
thing
is that big and who defines fat? Because in my opinion, I've been seeing fat phobia and I'm like, I think it's real.
Yeah.
But then I also am confused because I'm like, I saw some girl like, you ain't that big, to a girl that was big. And I'm like,
I just think it's weird.
what is it? Tell us what it is.
I just think it's weird because there's this, it's what a lot of like fat women currently deal with in our community of like, well, I'm not that big or I'm not that far gone or I haven't let myself go that bad. So there's some redeemable quality.
I used to hate when people refer that to me.
Yeah. And so
I
when
hated
it's
that.
like, so when we kind of wrap up the conversations in that, it's not about like, oh, that being fat doesn't come with health issues, because everybody that says and claims that, and just that's the blanket statement and leave it alone, I feel like there's some element of truth to it. I'm not stupid, but to make that the cornerstone of whether or not I deserve respect as a human being is the issue.
Agreed.
So if it's like, oh, you look like you have diabetes, so that makes me less of a person because you think that I have diabetes. Why do I have to like bring a clean bill of health to be told whether or not I'm able to be treated like a person, especially when it comes to like people asking about like your medical records, and like as a fat person feeling like you have to offer up that kind of information to kind of, okay, she's clear, she doesn't have hypertension, guys, like we can be nice to her now. Like that's weird.
Like, why are we all asking people this around the fucking board?
Because we don't. And
No, we don't.
I don't even ask people that are sick like, oh, when's the last time because that's not how we're gauging how to respect other people. So I think that's like really interesting, especially when it comes to dealing with health and people talking about health, that most of the time that's where they're deriving whether or not they respect somebody from a health conscious point of view. But you're not doing that to smaller people that might have chronic illnesses, that might have like diseases that they're dealing with, that they might even be born with or, you know, acquire later in life, that people might think stereotypically are for larger bodies. So
But
it's just like
outside of health though,
Yeah.
how you're talking about respect, it's also the value.
Yeah.
When I was bigger, I felt like people thought I should be happy that anybody wanted to have sex with me.
And that's how they
Or
talk
that
to you
anyone-
online.
They talk to
That's
you
how
like
they
that
talk
That's
online.
kind of wild.
That's
Because
how they
people
talk.
really
that's
act
how
like,
I felt in dating, but even you receive that from women and men.
Yeah.
Because I remember I was dating this football player.
Yeah.
And one of the girls knew when I got knew that I was with him in Indiana, and he was like, "It's so funny to me how bothered she is that I deal with you." And she
so
hopped,
bothered.
so mad, and so she
bothered.
hopped in my DMs.
what does she look like?
Got her body done, girl from Miami.
Got her body done.
And she had like the small waist, big ass. Her whole body was done.
Made one be pressed.
And he laughed. He was like, "Yo, she's known other girls I fucked with, and I don't know why it's you, but you bother her so much." So she slid in my DMs and literally trashed me because of my size, my weight, and like I don't know why he would want you if he's fucking me and all of this.
Yeah.
And so even as women,
Thanks for the
women would come
message?
to me
Question mark.
and be like, "How dare you fuck her
Yeah.
when you're fucking me and I
Yeah.
look like this?"
Yeah.
So you get it from the other women and the men.
Because those are the ones that like to perpetuate that and then act like it doesn't exist when you say something about it. Like,
Right.
what are you talking about? Fat phobia doesn't exist.
Don't get me wrong. I've seen men,
like,
obviously, my whole life.
But
be
definitely, I've seen
terrible,
women
but
do it.
Women
Women do it
are
all the
the
time.
Women do it so
worst.
They
much.
do it all the time because they're like, because it's different, especially like, which is sad because we're getting to 2020, but like the fact that like that is still something that women internalize as I'm not as bad as this person, and there's something missing from me because this person that I find desirable is also dealing with this other person that I find undesirable.
I have a question right when we're on this topic. I was Googling fat phobia and like hot takes on it, and I want to know this one. And I've seen someone say it to Mandy actually, and I don't know if you responded or not, but it was in our comments on her VSG episode. Someone said, no, it was a big chick that wrote a blog saying, no, I'm not fat phobic because I'm fat and want to lose weight.
Nah.
Can we talk about that in confidence and what your opinion is
very
on
quickly for you.
Wrap it up, sis.
No,
Wrap it
but,
up.
I mean, but seriously, is something that people throw in your face
internalized.
when you lose weight
that's all
as
it
a
is.
confident person.
No,
That's all it
it's
is.
internalized because you can still be fat phobic and be a fat person. That's how you could be anti-black and be a black person.
Sure can.
When you want to separate yourself as far as possible from this community that you are very clearly a part of because of negativity that you feel is attached to them living the way that they exist. So, and I deal with it a lot. That's why I've had to actually start unfollowing people that start that, because I'm not against intentional weight loss. I think that conversation needs to be more nuanced than it is. But if we were
You're not against it.
I'm not against it, but I also think that if the right conversations surrounding fat phobia were happening before this surprise intentional weight loss, it wouldn't be this much of an issue, because you have a lot of influencers that make their platforms, that make all their profit off of our community and never once bring up the existence of fat phobia. They just talk about, oh, I have this new dress from the new Anthropologie line because now they're size inclusive and it's really cool and it's the ugliest dress I've ever seen. But then they'll turn around and come back 6 months later and they've had a surgery to make themselves smaller, and we're just not supposed to address it. You've made all your money off of this community by telling us how we should feel and how things are going for you.
But see,
you're
that's
not
the conversation
talking about,
where I'm interested. It's like,
just
okay,
talk about
but
fat
why
phobia and what it
can't
is, and then
you be okay. So like a VSG,
Yeah.
that's because to me, I feel like it's very unfair. And to be fair, there ain't many things that I'll ever agree on this podcast with Mandy with. It's been 3 years, but that was the one thing where I was kind of like, why is she now a liar? Because she was confident while big and got VSG, and now you're saying that she didn't like her body. Why can't
I don't think anyone called me a liar.
I didn't say anyone called you a liar. Let me clear what I'm saying.
Yeah, please.
People saying that it was a fake confidence, or
no,
it can't be real. Yes, I read those comments.
But I've also said in the episode,
But you said you had...
that's what I'm saying. I would say that I was always the life of the party. When I walk into the room, you're going to know who I am. But to me, I did say there was maybe a false pretense of confidence, fully because what people were saying to me, as far as the woman in my DMs, as far as the men wanting to only have sex with me because I was a certain...
Yeah, but you didn't feel like dealing with it no more.
And I didn't. But also living in New York, it's the wintertime. Boots don't go up my calves.
Yeah.
I'm not fitting jeans. Jackets and layers are not closing because of my weight.
And
so even though I have this confidence because I am who I am, and I'm still bagging niggas, I'm still doing this. I did Slim Fast. I tried to change my diet.
When's the
I
first
tried
time
to go
you
to
took
the
a
gym.
When's the first time you ever put on a diet or was on a diet?
Oh my God, in middle school. When
I was 8 years old.
I was going to say, when my mom would take me, and mind you, my breasts started filling out quicker than they should have. I had hips, I had thighs. So these conversations, when I went to the doctor, my sister was smaller. I was being told I was obese at a very early age. And then of course, when I got to adulthood, just moving to New York, going into college, that freshman 15 turned into, over the 4 years, I gained 10 pounds a year. I gained 50 pounds over 4 to 5 years. And to reach 230 pounds at my peak at 5'1", and that's why, even though people are saying, girl, you're not a BBW anymore, I've posted my before and after pics. I've been very open about the procedure, what it's caused as far as complications afterwards. I talked about my acid reflux now that I have, and it's super bad now, and the things that I've had to change what I'm eating. And so, yes, this girl did this weight loss, and now she's like flaunting around in lingerie. Like, I'm smaller now, so let me get into... But you're not owning up to the process.
It's like, the thing is, you can be somebody that is in a larger body that is confident, and you might either derive your confidence from somewhere else, or you might feel good in your body at that time. But at some point, it doesn't mean that you're not dealing with the very negative effects of fat phobia.
Just like whorephobia we've talked about on this podcast.
And if you're like very upfront and honest with your followers, which I think they still owe to us, because they're the ones that people are actually listening to and they have the reach. Be like,
I just think it's unfair. And the reason I had brought that up is because I always found it unfair to say that someone can't love any body they're in, which is really why I liked what Lizzo said to Charlamagne when he was like, you wouldn't look as skinny. She was like, oh, I would look good regardless.
Which I didn't really like that interview, because he was so focused on the fact that she was
fat.
Not only just that, but like that she had lost a significant amount of weight. She was homeless. So why are you like focused on the weight that she lost
I
during
didn't
her
know that, Lizzo.
homelessness? Yeah, she like she used to be homeless, and like she would like go to the like 24-hour fitness and shower in there, and like she literally lost a lot of weight because she was homeless, and
She couldn't afford food.
Yeah, and he was stuck on how she looked when she lost the weight. And I'm just like, you're asking her about how much weight she lost and what she looked like and trying to compare that to how she looks now. She was fucking homeless. Are you kidding? So it's just like he's more focused on the weight loss than the fact that she didn't have no food to eat because she was homeless. I watched that entire episode because I was like, okay, all right, because all my friends were like, did you see it? Did you see it? I was like, nah. So I watched it. I honestly don't think they focused enough on her music. They focused a lot on her body. But then what I really found disrespectful was him focusing on her weight loss during her homelessness.
I think people are obsessed with focusing on her body because, well, one thing I want to talk about that I know you're going to disagree with, but I want to talk about like fat phobia trolling. One, if it's real, how it opened everyone's eyes with Lizzo's shit. And
which I'm weird. I'm still like, it took that long to like show everybody that something that really be happening.
Right.
Like,
And it's been happening.
I mean, I think that it was more like mainstream because it was so jarring.
yeah.
But here's my main question for you, because I was teetering back and forth a lot on this. One, I didn't like the outfit.
It's
Two,
okay not to like the outfit. The outfit
right.
was hideous.
Two, I started getting confused in my head because I didn't like people's reactions. And then I was like, nah, I'm Team Lizzo, fuck it. But then I was like, yo, am I really serious? Because I didn't like the outfit.
It's like Crystal said, it's okay to be in both camps at the same time, because I honestly think that was a terrible outfit. I'm not gonna lie. I have t-shirt dresses, so when I saw the first photo, I'm like, oh, okay, she's in the t-shirt dress.
If
of the
it
game.
was like
that's
ripped
a whole
and
circle
ass
cut
out.
out. It's a whole circle
Cut
and
out.
so like, I honestly feel like the outfit is terrible, but it is. The reaction to it is very much like something that needed to be called into question, whether or not her, like, not the actual questions, like, not the actual outfit's appropriateness as a whole. Because are we
I
really?
felt like fuck them kids too.
Because what the? They watch porn on their phones. They've seen a lot worse shit.
A few weeks ago, same thing
They've
we
seen
said.
a lot worse shit than that.
But then after this, she also twerked with her panties out in Chick-fil-A. Like,
I did not see that.
girl,
and I'm glad I didn't.
It's just a lot. So to me, so Jerome Trammell was our opener host to our show in Atlanta, and he brought up the post of Fat Phobia.
Yeah.
I want to ask you, because this is, me and him went back and forth a little bit on it, and even when we had our guest and we talked about Lizzo a few weeks ago, this was a
Jerome, by
conversation.
the way, is, do you know who she's talking about? He's slim.
So my question to you is, so to me, when people bring up these fat phobia problems that people are portraying, to me, I don't like someone to point out that it's fat phobic. Mind you, we brought up she could be asking for attention. The outfit is terrible. There's all these things. And so let me ask your opinion on people who decide to bring up fat phobia who have never experienced fat phobia.
Yeah.
Do you find it okay for them to kind of pledge, oh, y'all are all fat phobic, it's only because she's fat?
No, because I think it's hollow. And if you're not willing to do the work to actually explain to people why it's fat phobic in terms of like the semantics and the language used around what's happening,
right,
as opposed to just jumping on this bandwagon that you think is politically correct.
And that's where
like,
I'm
that's
at.
Where the
That's where
the hollowness is like, okay, but like,
and I told him that.
And that's why it turns other people off when you're trying to discuss what fat phobia is. Because like I said, it's possible to think that outfit was terrible because it was, but also when you see the criticism surrounding the outfit, none of it really makes
nobody wants to see that, is what they were saying.
Yeah, but like it wasn't
weren't
just
saying that.
But it
looks
wasn't
like
just nobody wants to see that. It was like all of these things people were like literally cherry picking out of like what is appropriate to be shown. They were talking about the seats being dirty. They were talking about the children. And I'm like, okay, but like I'm not even trying to be that person. Your children see a lot worse on a daily basis. So therefore, a big black woman's ass is not going to corrupt your children.
The children thing I actually got really annoyed with because the cheerleaders.
Which everybody's critique of it is like literally the cheerleaders are right there.
The seat thing,
half naked.
I get it. I agree.
Half
but
naked.
I think that the seat thing was also like a random thing to pull out.
It was random because everybody wanted to have something to say that wasn't fat phobic.
Or they wanted to make it seem like it wasn't fat phobic.
Yeah, they didn't want things
how
fat phobic.
right? So that situation, I didn't read what he said, so I can't really comment on it too much.
Look at that.
But I am curious to know,
Just keep that.
how do people, and this I guess could go in a box for white people with their Black Lives Matter shit, which gets super annoying sometimes.
It can.
How do skinny people then become allies, and especially with intersectional feminism, not celebrate bigger women's bodies and then be called like just using your verbiage, hollow. Like, he's not a woman, right? He's an LGBTQ advocate. So it's like, okay, I'm all for women. I'm all for people. How do you keep in that box and be with your activism and support people, but then not be called like...
It can't be opportunistic. Why do you wait till now to say something? She's been dealing with fat phobia since her career started.
Right.
It wasn't just this. This might have been the tipping point, but this is not...
So you feel that's I think a good point to say.
Yeah.
So like using that as the catalyst to start the conversation.
It can't be performative. And I feel like a lot of people that were like, nah, this is fat phobic, without willing to offer a follow-up in terms of what fat phobia is and show examples of how she's been dealing with this for
What is it?
Fat phobia is a very negative set of attitudes, behaviors, and societal beliefs about somebody that lives in a larger body that's not seen as socially acceptable. And that literally is a systemic issue to the point where it affects insurance, health insurance,
like
everything. Being able to have your children with you. It affects
the insurance is a big deal.
It affects how you shop. It affects your employment. It affects how much you get paid. It affects everything. And people don't want to acknowledge that because it's still seen as something that you can change, because it's not like being born without a leg or not being born with like a skin disease or something. Like, it's something that they're like, well, you should have more control over this. And it's also seen as a moral issue because with the 10 Commandments and people talking about how gluttony is one of
the 7 deadly sins.
Yeah, I'm sorry, one of the seven deadly sins. That's directly tied to morality. And so,
overfeeding yourself and things like that.
People think that the result of a larger body is overfeeding when they don't think about the fact that a lot of people are born. I've been fat since I was a child. This is not something that just happened when I went through a time in my life.
That was a conversation I had this morning with the dude I was dating, right? Like, I was writing out things I wanted to talk about with you. And I was like, I know a lot of girls online that are bigger than me. When I would post myself in lingerie and what my stomach wasn't all the way flat, and I would talk about a fupa, they would get angry with me. Girls that are on my side would be like, oh yeah, I've got a muffin top today, it fluctuates, da-da-da-da. But girls that were significantly bigger than me were not fucking with me for it. I don't preach positivity because it's not my lane. I don't need to. And it's just not something I connect with as much as I connect with feminism. However, I am interested in knowing how you feel when and if a girl my size would say something like that, and if you feel like we can, because that conversation,
we had this conversation on the podcast, and we went back and forth. I told her,
I told you I thought that I agreed with you.
Yeah, I didn't really care for someone her size to even be doing the fupa or body positivity type post.
I don't do positivity type posts, but I love my body.
Well, first of all, I'm not body positive. I don't like body positivity at the current state it is right now. I think it's very performative. The people that need it the least are the people that benefit from it the most. And I honestly feel at this point, it is now a marketing ploy, and we're going to move on to something else
clout
next
chasing.
year. Yeah,
but here's another thing that happens too.
What it is.
Yeah,
clout chasing for ad companies that are, however, there's a thing with that though, bro.
There is.
When I'm on the subway and now I see big girls in lingerie, are they clout chasing me, or now we putting it in everybody's face and is it better?
Is it an ad of a company that's already made sizes for us,
or is it new because
or
now
is it new?
It's
there's
trend.
now social pressure.
But that's the thing where I'm like, okay, you got to take it. Like, I like seeing it. And I also understand how someone who can be bigger could say it's clout chasing or it's bullshit, but so now what? They're not supposed to?
Well, I can get that from like when answering the first question you asked. I think that when smaller women or like straight size women, as they're usually called, are able to talk about their body in a way that kind of talks about what they feel are flaws or what they're uncomfortable with on their body, the language that they're using is something that they already attribute as negative that somebody else is already living with. So like if you're like, oh, I have a fupa, oh, I have muffin top, oh, I have rolls, oh, I feel fat. It's just like, I don't know if y'all talked about it in a way of like, there's a difference between feeling fat and being fat.
Yes.
And you're already attributing negativity
My friends used to do that
word because you already know how fat people are treated.
I really like that. Feeling fat and being fat. Because
Totally
I just said in the beginning of the episode.
Yeah.
Now, what I find interesting, I want to say one more time, I've never, ever, I do not do body positivity posts because that's not my lane.
Me neither.
Don't like them. But
you see, it's not on there.
So,
I do.
But I definitely always talk about fupa because I have a really big fluctuation in my weight.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that I've felt uncomfortable, and which is why I wanted to take ownership of it. When girls are talking about flaws that are straight size women, like you said, do you feel like that is ownership of it? or it's them brushing off criticism of what could be? Because
I don't think it's ownership. I think it literally is them. Like, if you want to, I think it's because I don't believe in absolutism. I think it's like a whole spectrum of like how they feel fatness affects them. Because like I tell people, fat phobia affects everybody. The people that are not fat are terrified of being fat.
Yep.
There are studies showing that people rather be blind than fat. And
No, I'm good.
would rather have other terrible things happen to them physically
Than be big.
than to be fat. Because although people want to deny fat phobia, they know what fat phobia is. They know how fat people are treated. They know how fat people are
It affects
viewed.
you mentally, systematically,
So
socially.
so that's why when I was like, it's not fair.
I feel like restaurants are the worst.
They're the worst because it's purposely set up to not have fat people there, especially in New York. When I moved here and I would make fun, I was like, look at that slim ass restaurant. There's like 4 chairs in there.
Bruh.
And it's like this small, but it's like
Tables
it is set
are
up in a
tiny.
way to where fat people are not allowed to participate
feel
in
uncomfortable.
society. And if they have a problem with it, they need to go lose weight so that they can conform to what society thinks is acceptable enough to treat them with respect as human beings. And when you have somebody that already gets that respect just off of like the strength of them existing in a non-fat body,
Living.
attributing all of these negative factors to problem areas they feel are issues on their body, because you're not being treated like less than a person because you have a fupa,
Fupa.
a smaller body.
Right.
You're not being treated like you can't raise your own children because you have a muffin.
You can do things like I remember 7 months before my surgery.
Yeah.
I went with my coworkers. This is when I was working at an investment bank, and me and all of the coworkers that were on my level, we went to Six Flags. Do you know one of the rides? The thing
Which one?
it wouldn't close.
That
And
happened to me at the Texas State Fair and I got off
Do you know
immediately.
that's when honestly a lot
That's
of people
crazy.
are like but you were shapely, you weren't that big. I've been on planes where I got in the emergency seat,
Yeah.
and the bar didn't lift up,
Yeah.
and so I felt squished on an airplane seat.
Yeah.
So when I went to Six Flags and the thing wouldn't close, and he's literally trying between my
That's
hips and my
so
thighs.
embarrassing
It
when
was
that
so
happens.
embarrassing.
It's so
I could
embarrassing.
not
You're
ride
like,
this
"Fuck it.
ride.
Getting off the shit right now. I'm
I
not
could
doing
not
it."
ride this ride
Yeah,
with my
bro.
coworkers because of my size.
Yeah.
So that's like my problem when I see
Sucks.
the slim people talking about, their size, their fupa, their arms, their, oh my God, I'm this, I'm that. That's where like it internalizes with me, like, you have no fucking idea. Yes, you may not like your fupa,
Yeah.
but there's been things that I have not been able to physically do. Even when I went to Dubai, my little African flew me to Dubai. We went to the NASCAR Ferrari. There's a Ferrari World out in Abu Dhabi. We went there. One of the rides, it wouldn't fucking close over my hips and thighs.
Yeah.
And we literally had to get up, and I was in tears. I was like, I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
But in my size, there have been things that I was not physically able to do.
Yeah.
I joke about not riding dick because it's a lie. I'd be out of breath. Yeah, all that.
like it.
But when I was bigger, there were literally things that I
Nobody
could not
knows it.
physically do that happened around people, and they saw that because of my size, I was affected. So in talking about body positivity and people who are smaller and people who I believe like clout chase off of this body positivity movement, when it comes to people who are slim and who have never been a victim of fat phobia, I do have problems with people trying to bring the conversation of fat phobia when that's something they've never ever had to experience.
Because
And
it's not even
understand
it's
that,
not a
but it's
series of
also not gonna be
isolated. But it's
easy
not,
with
but it's not
feminism
a
today.
series of isolated incidences, and I feel like because there's still, for lack of a better phrase, there's still not enough room to have conversations about fat phobia. I really do think that if feminism wants to continue progressing and be intersectional, especially since we go into this next wave, we're going to have to address fat phobia. We're already getting to a point where we're being forced with Sesta Fosta to discuss whorephobia and like decriminalizing sex work, because we had to actually throw it in people's faces. There had to be something put in place to have everybody pay attention, which they didn't. And now everybody's trying to act surprised that Instagram and dating apps and all these other websites are now blocking them for content and like censoring stuff. Everybody's trying to act surprised. Like, wow, maybe if you had listened to all the sex workers that were talking about what Sesta Fosta is going to do instead of actually helping the people they think they're going to help, we wouldn't be in this situation. But I think it's going to get to a point where they're going to have to listen, because it doesn't just affect whether or not I'm buying clothes somewhere, which, fun fact, there's only like 3 places in New York I could buy clothes places. But it's
that's why
also
Fashion Nova doing so well.
Yeah, but it's
literally
also affecting it on a like personal level. And like what I talk about with my page is that it affects me on a sexual level too, because I'm expected to not even know what sexuality is in a larger body. And I'm like she said, I'm only supposed to like take what I can get, be appreciative of whatever dick's coming my way, be fetishized or like shut the fuck up about it. And everybody's response when you bring up fat phobia is either their discomfort, their body issues they want to share with you, not in a fat body, but also the fact that if you want to be treated better, you have to lose a significant amount of weight to be even treated as a human, which I still think is gross. Yeah. Because why can't I be treated as a human while I'm taking dick? Like, so you're basically saying that you're going to put your dick in anything, but I'm not a person. And during that situation, the lead up to, during, and after, I don't have to be treated as a person or expect to be treated as a person because as a fat person, I don't deserve humanity. Right. And that's what it is. That's like at the very core of it. And that's why I wanted to discuss it more in terms of sexuality, because like that leads to a lot of like that is a part of rape culture. And people don't understand how like being socialized to be used as an instrument just to be seen as like desirable happens a lot with a lot of fat women, whether or not you're in charge of your sexuality, whether or not you're more like assertive with it. There has been an instance or an ongoing situation where you feel like this is the only thing that I can provide to this person to keep them around because they do not see me as a person.
That's why I really wanted you to come, because I feel like after watching a lot of your stories and stuff like that, and even someone that doesn't experience it, like just knowing our listeners, seeing what they look like.
Can I say something that might be a little bit like
do it.
It's not about seeing it. It's about recognizing that you benefit from it. So like as somebody that's not in a fat body, you're like already benefiting from fat phobia because you're being treated better out of spite of fat phobia because you're not in a fat body. So therefore you're not existing in a way that is so like seen as like a failure, a moral failure, and like an employment failure, social failure. Right. So you're being seen as somebody that is human. And even though I'm not saying nothing bad happens to you because you're not fat, but it's just like the way that you're being treated and approached by people, talked to by people, treated by your partners.
Oh, I know and acknowledge that. I mean, listen, I don't deal with fat phobia too often or have too many conversations about it. But I know that
around you,
I knew that it was necessary because of one, people around me, two, our listeners, and three, the fact that if I am a feminist and this is true, I have to consider all women and what they look like.
Yeah, and you have to consider all the ways in which you benefit from something that purely exists because people do not think that people that live in larger bodies are human.
And I felt like this was necessary too, just to know that like we all might treat people that are bigger than us away and not even see it. Mm-hmm. And I really wanted that eye-opening perspective from someone else. I mean, you know, Mandy has been through a weight loss journey and done so many episodes on it. And it always feels like it's never enough of a combo. Because at the end of the day, I go through instances all the time where I'm seeing it happen, whether niggas is talking about big girls, whether it's online every day, just the fucking Lizzo wave. Like, it's all of the fucking time. And it's like, especially after that shit, I was like, I just want one more where people can actually know and understand how it feels on the other side, because I don't know, right? And like I said, when I say fupa and things like that, it's not a guilt trip to make someone feel bad for me because I don't need it. Yeah. I'm just saying I love and like my body the way it is.
But also when you are talking about your body, if you're not in a fat body, as a feminist, you have to think about whether or not that's something that is born from misogyny or fat phobia.
What, the way that I like my body?
The way that if you might have an issue with your body. Because
I don't. I love my body.
Because a lot of women that aren't fat, they're dealing with their body through the lens of misogyny, not fat phobia.
I think the only thing about my body, no, not to weight, I bought tits. And I know I wanted them and I wanted them for myself. But the older I get, I also know why. I'm like, I know it wasn't a man that made me get them. Yeah. But was it though, low-key?
It's okay to think about it.
Because did I feel less desirable because I didn't have it?
Yeah.
And like, I definitely think that that's the one thing, not particularly weight, but definitely getting it. And I'm super happy I got it because I feel very sexy with it. But I've never been a girl with curves. I've never had a big ass. I've never had hips. I've been teased on this show for not having it. Like that. And I'm not doing that on some victim pity party shit because I already know that
but that's misogyny though.
But that's also in my mind, like the way that I think that some skinny girl shit goes just like, oh, well, I'm not curvy enough and da-da-da-da.
Because we've all internalized misogyny.
Right.
We're brought up within misogyny. So if it's like somebody telling me they don't feel like their curves are big enough, their ass is not big enough, that's something that's completely different from like fat phobia, because it's like you're dealing with your body under the umbrella of misogyny.
That's a lot more interesting because
Yeah.
I've heard people say that's skinny bitch woes.
I don't call it that anymore because I do
anymore, but I still be with the shit.
I think it's valid,
still say that shit.
but I think it should be looked
But
at
I do
from
think
another.
the misogyny is
I think
a
it should be
great.
looked at through another lens because it is through the lens of misogyny and not something because I'm only saying that because that's usually what's used as a rebuttal when you say, "Hey, I don't like being treated like shit because I'm fat," and then they're like, "Well, I don't have an ass," and all the boys in high school only talk to the curvy girls. Like, yeah, because those are the ones sucking dick to get liked, and you probably didn't have to. So it's just like you.
I've never used not having curves as a way because
The way that braided my hair
I'm
did
getting fucked
it.
either way.
The way that braided my hair did it, and it was a very awkward 6 hours.
Bitch. I do feel like I'd be mad about how I've been mad at like, oh, I wish I had this, but I don't think I've ever weaponized it like a nigga don't want me because of this. No, because what's for me is for me, bro.
See, look, you use the word weaponized because that's what they do.
Yeah, they do.
They do.
Look at me on my fake woke
I know.
shit.
You're not fake woke. I'm just saying through the
No, I am.
conversation, I see the wheels turning.
I am fake woke, bro.
No, I see the wheels turning. I see like you're like, oh, that's interesting. Oh, like okay, because like I'm not saying that thin women don't have woes. I'm just saying that they're completely different from what something else might be doing. So like if I came up to you and let's say you were like a white woman and you're just like, oh, I just deal with so much because men don't respect me and da 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 da, and I'm just like, okay, but just that's something that would usually be used in response to like a black woman saying like, hey, when I go to work, I have to change the volume of my voice. I have to code switch. I have to make sure I wear things that don't show off my curves too much.
Right.
Because it'll be seen as inappropriate.
You definitely
I have to wear
taught
a work
me
wig.
something today, and I think the
Yeah.
biggest thing that I'll take from you that I will change up about what I do, always say feeling fat. Yeah. I mean, obviously, I'm not saying, oh, I've definitely said I feel fat, and I've never thought about what it would feel like for someone else to hear that. That is, but it's in my mind how I'm feeling. Even when I'm on my period, I'll use that word. Like I'm feeling fat, and I'm definitely not going to do that anymore. I appreciate you for that.
I want to get into the home mail before we get out of here. This one is good because it actually kind of stems to even what you said earlier with the broke nigga.
Oh my God,
So
he broke.
this is a hoe that deserves it all. Hey ladies, I just want to start by saying how much I love y'all. You've talked me through a pretty painful and dramatic breakup earlier this year, and now you're teaching me about this whole life and all the craziness that comes with it. Dating has been a wash for me lately, sis, me too. I'm not looking to be in a relationship with anyone at this time, but I do enjoy getting to know new people and going out on dates. Here is where the problem lies. My last relationship was with a man that didn't have much of anything.
Yo.
He was always in debt, never had a car, and had some pretty bad addictions.
Oh,
I stayed
God.
with him for over 3 years because I felt like I could help fix his situation. And because the dick was so bomb, in all capital letters. It always is.
need me.
They have nothing else.
Obviously, I couldn't. We broke up, and 4 months later, he's engaged to a white girl. But that's another story for another time.
Send us pics.
Anyways, I'm 23 years old, college educated, attractive, black woman that pays for my own car, apartment, and student loans. And I have a pretty great job at a nonprofit. Basically, my ass is deserving of a man that matches my energy and has the means to improve my life. However, all the men I seem to attract are typically broke or lack ambition of any kind.
Oh boy.
You've done at least 2 episodes on sugar dating in the past, but seeking arrangements is whack. And as a black woman, finding the right sugar daddy that is willing to consistently spoil, mentor, and isn't just wanting a pay-for-play situation is hard. Outside of sugar daddies, how do I position myself to receive the abundant blessings of 5 niggas that are willing to simply show me the finer things? You both seem to do it with ease, and I know these men exist here in Dallas, Texas. Can't wait to see you guys at the 2020 live show. Love, a broke nigga magnet.
Come on, Dallas.
They do exist in
I'm
Dallas.
from Dallas. They
Oh,
do exist in Dallas.
What, broke niggas?
No, like men
Sugar
that are
daddy.
like,
Well,
they
they
got
sugar
money.
daddies do, but also
They got
I know in
money.
Texas, specifically Houston, you have a lot of the oil money down there. I would say here's something that me and my friends talk about. And you don't have to go out and buy luxury items, but I will say you do attract what you put out. So I would say dressing a certain way when you go to either nice restaurants or out to a club, making sure your shoes are well kept, your outfit is nice, your hair is laid. So even just maybe putting more effort into what you're putting out, keeping your nails done, and literally just coming across more well kept does attract people who either want to spend money on you or people with money.
There's also 2 things to be said too with your appearances. it's levels, right? Like the way that I'm dressed right now, I'm wearing like orange pants, big chunky boots, a sweater, whatever. This is how I like to dress. I'll dress casually and when I'm going out and hanging out with friends. Yeah. But there's levels to shit. If you want a nigga on a different level, and that's not the niggas you're running into when I'm in my orange pants or chunky heels, I believe you should dress better than normal, or even have a tire for that shit. Like,
agreed.
I had my sugar daddy clothes. I have my Soho House clothes, bro. I have my I'm going on vacation. I have Hamptons clothes, Tulum clothes. Then I have my Cancun clothes. Like, I think that we're like just throwing in like that fucking, oh, I've got a cute dress that I wear to the club normally. Well, don't wear it when you're catching a sugar daddy because that's not the same one.
But not only that, just knowing your space now, your dress. So yesterday after the studio, I ended up going out, hanging out with my homeboy Asante, but then one of my friends invited me to SOBs. I had on forces, jeans, a sweatshirt, real chill. Yeah. Then KD was throwing a holiday party at Catch Steak. Yeah. So his brother hit me and was like, hey, are you coming to the holiday party? Kevin's having it. And I was like, nigga, I have on forces and jeans. Yeah. I know that I'm not going to go into Catch Steak where there's going to be other NBA players. There's going to be, probably team execs. There's going to be niggas with money. Yeah. I can't go in there with Air Forces. I felt way more comfortable meeting my other homeboy at SOBs, chilling, rocking it out. Yeah. So it's also knowing and being aware of the spaces that you're going to be put in. If your friend is inviting you to a hotel lobby to have drinks and it's a nice hotel, definitely dress the part. Yeah. If you're going to go to the Lower East Side and have drinks, you're probably not going to find the person that you would expect to spend a lot of money on.
And I think that's another thing too with like expectations with like getting money out of niggas. Like, not every number you get. So like, and I want to talk about Cudi with this because I think she might have mentioned in her book, and I read her book 2 years ago, but like, if you're, trying to get money out of every single nigga you fuck with because you're following a person like Cudi who's excelled in this, or even listening to this show and hearing us talk about niggas that we fuck with like that, no one understand everybody at this table has fucked a broke nigga, right? Yep. But still has preached about the rich nigga and getting money out of them.
We all fuck broke niggas. God damn it, these niggas.
You cannot cast them in the same net. Like, you can't think that when you were chilling at a dive bar and met a dude that he's going to give you the same type of shit that someone else might have. It's just, I'm not saying it can't. I'm just saying, like, set your expectations realistically. Yes. Where to find them? Hotel lobbies are like the number one place I've always read online that's like across the board what they've said is a thing.
But you want to be careful with that.
Yeah.
Yes, because
there's undercovers a lot, specifically on the West Coast. In LA, of course, well, Vegas, it's kind of, they don't really do it too much. But in LA, my friends would go to the nice restaurants in hopes of finding someone. And even sitting at a bar, they got caught. Well, there was an undercover cop because they will look to see if you're trying to, sell yourself.
It affects trans women as well. They'll just be saying, you heard about that woman that was just staying at the hotel, and they were like, obviously you're here, and they kicked her out the hotel and arrested her.
Oh wow, I didn't hear about this.
Yeah. So like, it's
Bitch,
now.
Does she own the Hyatt?
That's what we're saying. Now you can't do if you're a trans black girl. You just can't be in the lobby. Why would you be in the lobby? That's what
That's insane. But even as my friends, with their bodies done or dressed a certain way, that people automatically assume they're there for sex work. No, bitch, we're just here to get the nice cocktails. We have the money to pay for them. But and that's been something even being with my friends where we've been looked at and we'll be like, oh, they think we're here working, even if we're not. We're just there to eat good food.
It happened to me one time where I realized the dude thought I was a hoe, and when he thought it, I smiled and laughed because I couldn't believe it. I was at Hunt and Fish in New York.
Oh, bitch, that's the number one place for sugar daddies, though. Hunt and Fish. Well, if you're in New York, Hunt and Fish is where you go to get them, bitch.
I know, but
look, even our cameraman is smiling. That is the number one restaurant in New York.
Nice meal.
It's the number one restaurant.
And I was suited when I was working in tech, and I came in there, but under my suit I wear like maybe a lace like thing under the blazer. This dude was like, oh, so you're from New York, honey? And the honey thing. I was like, yeah, I'm not from here, but, I live here. And I was like, I work nearby. And he's like, oh, yeah, okay. And he's like, well, I'm staying nearby. I was like, oh, cool.
Number one place.
I was like, I actually live on 54th and 8th, right? And at the time. And it's funny because I didn't realize I was sounding like I was being inviting.
Oh, yeah.
And right before he left, he was like, listen, like, I do this all the time, but, I think you're great. And I was like, oh my God, I'm not a hoe. But I am though. But I was like, yo, when he left, I felt insulted and like, ooh, hot at the same time.
Oh my God, you were like Carrie from Sex and the City
Yes,
when she got paid for that
away.
date. I hate that episode because she was really in her feelings about that. I was like, girl, if some nigga
I
like
love
fuck
what Samantha
me,
said. You have power between your legs, and he got power in his pocket. It wasn't a direct quote, but it was something like that.
She
Anyway,
was so.
I just realized we went over time. Eden keeps looking at me. I don't know if you have somewhere to go. Mandy couldn't even be here past 2.
I canceled my flight because I was about to get scanned.
Yo,
so
can I say
canceled
something
my
real
flight.
quick though?
Yeah.
You know how we were talking about like the whole bad energy and closing portal and shit like that?
Oh my God.
Check
You
this
know
out.
how to close back?
Nah, check this out.
Portal.
Ain't it funny how Mandy's mic broke though?
How what? How what?
Look at your microphone.
What about it?
Why is
Your
shit broken?
mic broken, ours
You
didn't.
brought that energy in with you.
I know, because the devil dick, and I'm talking about it. That's
Bro,
what I'm
it's not
talking
double
about.
dick. It's one of their wives. I'm serious.
I just want to say that real quick. My bad.
First off,
has to be.
Listen, let's not talk about how everything in the studio fucking falls apart. Let's not. Let's really not. I don't want to shake
That's
the
a different
network wrong, but
conversation.
goddamn,
Yeah,
this studio
that's a
needs some
different
upgrades,
conversation.
okay? So it's not motherfucking
No,
the
everybody
devil
tie
dick.
this table.
But
This
everyone-
this shit
listen, there's podcasts that don't even record out of here anymore, goddamn it. So, anyways, shots, nigga. It ain't the devil dick energy. I'm not cursed. It's the motherfucking mic stand. Anyways,
Or
before we-
it is a Lord Father God full court pumps.
Listen,
Get her.
I'm about to add an underscore to my name
You
at this
might
point.
have to. Mandy, I think it's 1 eye, maybe 2.
They can't find it. You be able to. They can't find you.
And they know all my AKAs. They done motherfucking cursed everything. Anyway, before we get out of here, Ashley, can you give our listeners where they may find you?
Yes.
If you have any websites, if you have anything going on.
Well, you can find me at AshleighChubbybunny. That's ASHLEIGH Chubby Bunny. That's all one word on Instagram. I don't really use any other social media at the moment. I also, in the vein of what I'm talking about, have a lingerie party coming up February 16th.
Oh, that's
Hey.
Yep. We had one in June that was called Centerfold. It was a lingerie party. It went really well. So we're doing it again. And I'm running it with my friend Venus Cuffs. And I'm very excited to have that happen again because the first one, even though there was drama, it was a success.
It will be here in New York?
It'll be here in New York. It'll be at $3 Bill in Brooklyn. So look.
You have to give us the flyer. I would definitely love to post
We don't have the
that.
flyer yet. We're taking our photos like next week to
Okay.
get the promo started.
You'll have it by the time this posts.
I will have it.
Yes.
So I'll get that to you. But that's what we're doing.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. I do appreciate you coming in here. Even for us going on tour, when we first decided to do merch, we bought quite a bit of shirts. We bought it in bulk. And when we brought it to Atlanta as one of our first Atlanta shows, this was maybe 2 years ago, my friend who did the table, who was also bigger, she went through the surgery as me. She's like, girl, you had people that wanted to buy shirts and you guys you guys didn't have the bigger sizes. So even, again, I want to thank our patrons because of you, we did a large order, but we went all the way up to 3XL on our tour t-shirts just because we do want to include
And on our
all
Patreon
of our
merch, we
listeners.
go up to 4X.
Yeah, so I do apologize for that misstep 2 years ago for those of you who came to our show in Atlanta and couldn't get merch because we didn't have your size. But yes, for our tour merch, we do go all the way up to 3X. And bitch, that 3X kind of looked like a 5X.
Because I'm going to tell you right now, I want to take your skinny ass money, your big ass money, your nigga money, your mama money, your old money, and your scamming money.
Yes.
Nah, I went all that. But again, I want to thank our patrons. Because of you, we were able to do that. If you guys aren't familiar, maybe this is your first time listening and you came on over because Ashley Chubby Bunny told you to.
Yes.
Do know that we do offer 3 bonus episodes every month. So depending on how many Mondays land in that month, you can get anywhere between 7 and 8 episodes in that month. And we are going to leave you off with a 5-minute bonus clip from Patreon. If you want to become a patron, go to patreon.com/Whoreible Decisions. Also, if you want to submit home mail, definitely go ahead and email us at whoreible_decisions@gmail.com. That's WHOREIBLE decisions.com. Also, we come into a motherfucker sitting near you. So if you haven't yet, get your motherfucking tickets to see us live. We are bringing Kinksters to the stage. We have a lot of invited guests coming out. You may be able to see some of our previous guests on stage, and it's a hell of a show that we give you guys. So if you guys have not yet, be sure to purchase your tickets at whoreibledecisions.com and click the city that you're in or one that you plan to travel to, and it will take you right to the landing page of the tickets. Once again, we're going to leave you with a 5-minute bonus clip of our Patreon episode. Once again, thank you, Ashley, for joining us.
Thank you for having
and this has been yet another episode of Whoreible Decisions.
Bye.
Bye.